Okay, good morning. Hope you guys can hear me and you can see my screen. Anyone on, please give me a yes. Just to make sure I can see the chat where. Okay, I guess we're live. I can't see the chat for some reason, it disappeared, so I'm going to try to see if I can find that. And then we will go, because without the chat I wouldn't be able to follow up what we're doing. So give me 1 second, let me see where the chat is. Okay. That's strange, can't find it. Still trying to find the chat, can't find it. Anyway, let's go ahead without that. We'll get it as we go. I think it just popped up. So, good morning once again. Let's start. Hope everybody can see clear. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. The reason I start with the Aussie dollar here, because I'm already in this trade. I had an intro there, I got tagged. We're looking for Aussie to go up, so we'll see what happens to that trade. I think this is a situation that might have happened with the majority of you in here. Majority of the traders in here have been in this situation where you put an entry order, you got tagged, and then it pulled back against you. And most of you start to panic. Well, at this point, you have to figure out, well, what do you do with the trade? The first thing you should know is that you have a stop, which is here. So if it keeps dropping, well, you get stopped out. And that's it. That's the end of the trade. But if you understand wave analysis, there's an advantage to understanding how this pattern is going to behave or what it could do, so that if this happens to you, what you should do. So I'm going to go through very quick a few things, and you will actually see us do this live, because I will follow up with this trade in the New York session as well. So we hope you can join me in the New York session as well. What is going to happen is, if this is going to drop, most often you would find it consolidate here before it drops. So if I see any consolidation here, not only would I exit this, because I will consider whether I want to sell it. And even if you get a consolidation like that, it's not a fact that it's going to drop. It just means that this may be making a bigger flat for downside. So you could probably get a consolidation here, drop like this, go back up there, and then actually drop. Right? That's most likely what you're going to see. So when you're tagged in a trade like this, there's no reason to panic. Especially if you understand where you're taking the trade from. And that is the most important thing in the analysis, is where are you trading from? What point are you in the bigger structure? So when you go into 4 hours, you're going to say, well, okay, what's the reason for taking that trade? In the first place, why did I decide to buy that flag? Right? What's the point in buying there? Where do I expect it to go? Well, the reason I'm buying there is because I expect this to come here, above that top. That's the whole reason for that trade, is that we have a move down, we have an impulse up, so there's a good chance if this is all the correction, we're going to be making another move up. If that is not all the correction, then the next option of how I see this developing is it making a move like this, correcting, going like this, correcting, going like this, correcting, going like this, coming back here, and then go up. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're looking at this one, look at the opposite. Move down, 1, 2, 3, down. If you were following me for the last couple of months, you would have seen this forecast. And you would have seen a step-by-step of how that forecast changed, how we traded it, and how we exit. So exactly here, this is what you're going to expect. I'm in a trade from what you would call, they like to say, buy the bottom. You don't know where the bottom is. So I don't know that this is the low point in it. But if I'm risking this much, if I'm risking that much for a trade that could give me at least this much, I think it's worth it. So that's a trade I'll always go with. Just like when we bought this one, right? That was a buy setup there because we thought this could be the low with an impulse and a flag there. So I'm going to go back to the 1 hour and you'll see that trade there as well. So this was the trade. And if you were following this trade when we took it, it actually tagged and pulled back. So let me show you what that trade looked like before it went. So before that trade went, this was what it looked like. An impulse, a flag at the top here, with an entry order above it here. Tagged, pull back, and then go. So you can see something that makes sense, right? That's a common way of what is going to happen most of the time. So should I be worried about this pulling back? Absolutely not. And when you trade with that level of confidence, it means you start figuring out what's happening. So either this thing becomes a bigger flat and I'll exit that trade for a small loss or break even if I can get that, or it drops and take me out. If it's going to go up, I don't need to worry about it because that is a trade. This was the sell we took yesterday. Right? This was where we sold it yesterday for the trade to the downside. Now we're looking for the buy setup. Let's see what happens to that. Okay, that's a quick explanation of what we're going to do for the next 3 days. Show you how we take trades, how we manage trades, how we look at structures, how we use wave analysis to identify patterns and how we trade them. Good. I hope all of you enjoy it. Anybody here for the first time, give me a yes. Because if you're here for the first time, I'll have to give a quick update of what wave analysis is in 2 minutes. If nobody here is for the first time, we'll just go ahead and move on. Okay, no yeses. So all of you guys have seen my work before. Make sure you bring some new traders on so they can learn this stuff as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go straight up. We're looking for a buy setup on the dollar index. I expect this to actually go. We have an entry order here. It's above the top. So this is probably making a running flat. I'll go with that as a possible running flat. So that is still a valid trade to the upside. Expect to break that up. Not necessarily that this trade will go. There's a good chance that we're just making a deeper correction here. And we will drop one more before it goes. But you don't know that at this point in time. You will never ever know that at any point in time. Trading is such that you have to take the trades from a good point with the expectation that it's going to do this if you're basing your analysis on something that gives you a forecast. And wave analysis does create forecasts. It's the best forecasting tool you can use to tell you where you think the next move is going to go. And if it doesn't go immediately, it eventually does go. So if you can get in this trade and it doesn't go, we'll get out of the trade. We might even take the sell, but then we're definitely going to be looking for the buy again. So I think this should go up. If it doesn't go, it starts to look like it's going to be a slow move. If it's a slow move, that means we're going to probably make bigger corrections before we go. Silver. We're looking for a sell setup on the silver based on this structure. We're still in this structure here, and there's a good chance we'll be getting a sell setup. I'm not taking the sell as yet, and I would show you why we're not taking it as yet. These were sell setups coming down. I'll show you why we're not taking the sell there as yet, because I think it has to make one more upside. I'm expecting this to literally go back up, complete this flat, and then we would look for a sell setup. And the sell would only happen if when you break this stop, it turns. If it gets back to this stop, we will still come down, but then it will be another buy setup. We'll be going up one more. See? So as you can see, this was a buy. Here is another example of when we bought. We bought this, closed it for break even. This became the buy. So now this one would, once it comes back to the top here, there's a good chance we're going to go down like this. Either break through the bottom or stop here and go back up. We'll still take the trade. We'll show you how we take the trade, when we take the trade, and if we don't take the trade, why we're not taking the trade. So gold, probably one more drop. My traders have to decide whether they were going to take this trade or not. If they took it, they'll take it from this point. Once it breaks that low, you get it to break even. The possibility is it has to go up one more, come down, and then go back up. You can keep track of these patterns because we will be here for 3 days and this pattern will probably complete itself in 3 days. So this is how we see this pattern developing in the near future. If structurally there is any other change, we will show you. So like I can tell you what we were looking for yesterday. Yesterday I thought this would break the top and then come down. It didn't break the top, it came down. So it means we're still in the consolidation. And we still have to get this move and this move and this move. So let's see if we get them. Right now, if you're in the sell, you got to get at the break even. You got to be careful about wanting to take profit because it doesn't mean it can't go a little more. It just means from here you have to be cautious of a possible up move. Euro. Yeah, we're just consolidating. If you want to sell, that's a sell setup. You should be in the sell already. And if this one goes, we're coming to retest the low. So this could drop here right now, or it could drop and start to go back up. And if it starts to go back up, we get out of that trade for break even. And we might consider the buy here, but then we'll be looking for a sell back to the bottom. So the trade you actually want should be this trade coming down. Now, this was a buy. If you remember, that was a buy for us. That trade closed, you bought this. That trade closed, you bought here. That trade closed, you bought there. So there were about 3 or 4 buys here that possibly very small, I'll call it break even, positive break even trades. This one is coming down. So let's see if it drops to the bottom. You should be in that trade already for the sell. If you're in, if you're not in for the sell, well, it's too late to get in. Wait for it to stop. Wait for another flag, wait for it to stop, makes another flag like this, and then we go for the sell. So if it stops here, make another flag, we'll sell. If it's going to go back up, we will exit this trade. I'll show you how and when and why we exit the trade. And then we'll be looking for one more up here before we still drop. So this move, we're still going to get it, and hopefully we can get it in the next 2-3 days that we're here. Pound. Yep. Sell setup would have been from the top. We didn't get that because that was before I came on this morning for the Asian session. So I don't know if the traders, my traders in the Asian session got it. If they got it, great. If not, well, we'll wait. This could be a sell, but you got to be careful now with this sell because we're close. I'll take off this line and I'll just pull something like this. We're close to this range here. And in that range, they can go back up. So we didn't call a sell here. And you notice I don't have anything for a sell there. If I'm going to be selling this, I wanted to break out of this low. I wanted to break out of the range completely, like drop through the bottom and then consolidate and then we'll sell. This would eventually go down, no questions. This pattern is almost the safest pattern for the sell. But if you want to get the sell at an early point, you need to get it here. When you're at the bottom of the range like this, selling it here is a little dangerous because from this point, it can go back up to the top and then we sell again. So this would be a trade we'll be looking for. Let's see if we get it. If this is the one that is going to drop, I wanted to break out of the range and then go for the downside. Right now, there's a high probability we go back up. So let's wait. You can put this one like this. That's a possibility. You can put it like this. This up move could be one piece, which means we could come a little lower even and go back up. I don't like the sell in this one, so we'll wait on it. Aussie, like I said, I'm already in this one. It's already coming up back. If this comes sharp like this and goes straight through, that is the trade. We'll go with an expanding flat in here, a smaller expanding flat. Like I said, if they stop and consolidate here, we'll close the trade and we'll wait for the next buy setup. New Zealand, that was the sell yesterday. And the pattern is pretty clear. We sold this, we're selling this. As it comes to the bottom, you got to be careful now. You got to move your stops, take profit. I closed my trade already. I closed it there. So now we will wait to see for it is going up. It will either go up or it will start to do this. So this was a buy we took because we thought this could go out or it could do this. So this one is either going to do that and drop again or it's going to go straight up. So we're looking for a buy setup here. Not selling it to the bottom. If there's going to be a sell setup here, I want to see a flag. We have to get a flag that sets up like this and that guarantees me at least an impulse before they're reversed. So we're waiting for the buy setup. We don't have anything there. Yen, it's a buy setup. You'd have to probably wait for it. We have an entry order there. This is a flat, and I really hate when they make a flat inside of a flat. You've got a flat here. So the entry order is still valid. You can keep it above the top. This could take off, but the upside in the yen is a little extreme. So if you're taking these trades, you have to be careful of how you're going to manage it. So like we took this one, that turned out to be more of a break-even trade. If you take this, the same thing, it could be more of a break-even trade. Put your entry order above the top. If it doesn't go really far, it could probably just get like this to come down back. You'll have to get out of that trade for positive. So if you're able to make that decision and manage the trade properly, good for you. If you can, then be careful. By the way, in the Aussie, I forgot to tell you, if you're not in the trade like me and you're thinking of buying it, you'll have to put an entry order above the top. Don't put it where I have it, put an entry order above the top. That's a safer entry. As of now, that's the safe entry. If this thing takes off, you won the trade. So come back, we're in the yen. You can buy, but you have to be careful. There's a warning, this is at an extreme level. Let me just show you what I mean by that. This is the pattern we're looking at. We've got to move down. We're in the correction going up. We're very close to the top. Well, relatively close. They don't normally get to that top. And we have divergence. So there's a good chance this one might start to come down. But this could work its way up quite a long time before that actually happened. So we're buying still. Put it here, go back. That's a buy setup. Just be careful with it. If it starts a turn, we will sell, which means every sell setup we get here, we will take. Swiss. Yep, still in the sideways. It's not going anywhere. This we were expecting this to take off to the upside yesterday. This one to go, it didn't go. If you took that trade, probably close it now, or wait for a little more and then close it. The stop for that trade is here. We're still in this consolidation, which means it can still go, or now we're going to drop. So we look at it this way. If this is all the consolidation, I don't think that's all the consolidation. This will drop. If we're going back up, pull this here, then we will get to that top. So if this didn't go, you will close the trade for positive. Most likely it will come a little higher, or close it with a small loss on this one. The stop is here, you can close it now with a small loss. What we'll do is wait for this to you got yourself a flat there, so if you pull it like this now, that's more of a flat. And this could drop, so we could look for a sell setup here, as long as it doesn't go too high. Now, if you get a sell setup there, we're going to drop through this low, so you can get in, you get a chance at break even. I'm going to put this here, and the sell setup would come here. So I'll take this off. Consider you took a small loss on that one. I'll take this off. What you're looking for is that this, if it drops through this, we're going to definitely break this low. And at this point, you have to get it to positive, because from here, keep the stop above here. From here, this could go back to the top still, or just drop through the bottom. The place we're trying to get to is this one, the low of this here. That's where we're trying to get in the daily. It's going down towards the daily low, which is here, right? So there's a good expectation that we will tag that low. So if this drops, we could get to that level, go back to the 1 hour, and go back with the sell setup. The bigger picture is downside, right? I don't think this is all the consolidation, but hey, it could be. This still has a flat in there, so it could be that's all the consolidation and this one drops. If this goes up any higher, it will still be this, and it will still be looking for the sell. All right? So go back to the 15. We'll put an entry order here, we'll put a sell setup on it, and we'll see where that goes. CAD. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys in it. You should have taken it this morning. If you took the trade this morning, just wait some more. Wait for this to close and then decide if you're going to take it off, because this would have to pull back. So the bigger picture of this is upside. We're looking at this right now as a possible 1, 2, 3. So this should go up all the way to the top. We're just waiting for the right entry here, right? So come back on the 1 hour. If you got the very early entry, good for you. That very early entry was at the bottom here. If you didn't get that entry, the second best entry would have been here. If you didn't get this entry this morning, if you took this one, you got to be careful with that. That one, eventually this starts to correct and then go. This would be the confirmation of the up move when we get a flag here. If we don't have a 1 hour flag, buying it now is a little dangerous. Now, there is still a chance that this is an expanding flat, or running flat in this case, whether we look at this as the running flat or you look at this as an expanding flat. There's still a chance that that could be an expanding flat and we drop. But we don't have a sell set up in it. So if it's going to be a sell, what you would find is it's going to drop, make a flag, and we will sell it. I would like to see a correction here and go up, not a flag for one more low. Right, so as of now, we will take all of this out. I'll just leave this one as the breakout. So we'll take off this and take off this. We'll leave it like that for now. Yeah, we will see whether this is going down for one more low and then the upside, or whether this gives us the correction, some kind of a flat, and then we go. Euros. It's making a correction, so we'll get a buy. This was yesterday's buy. We'll wait for another correction. We'll buy. We're coming to break this stop. So at this point, you need another flag or something. As from here, you can see we're buying this upwards, and we'll keep buying it. Euro CAD. Okay, you might get a buy setup here. This is one huge flat here, so take this off. This didn't come down from that point. We thought it would come here first and then go up there, going up. So this was all the consolidation for the upside. We'd go with that small consolidation here. That was all for the upside. Take this off. That's what a short-term buy turned out to be pretty good if you took it. So what we were expecting is that this has 1, 2, 3 up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, we'll assume that this is the 2 in this one. And we're going there for the 3. So when we break that top, you're going to expect this to come back down. Now, there might be a trade here. We don't have a good setup for it. I don't think you'll want to take it in that. But if it makes a correction, if it comes back down lower, if this comes lower like this, then we will consider this trade. If not, let it break the top. And then we'll be looking for the sell setup. Euro New Zealand. Upside. Now too late to get in the trade. The trade was from here yesterday. We'll have to wait for another flag and we'll buy. We're coming to break this stop. Coming to break this stop. This is the flat. 1, 2, 3. Go back up. Break that top, and from there, anything possible. Either more up or more less. So now you want this to make another flag. Let it pull back. Some kind of a flag here. And then we'll go for this trade to break this stop. So if we're lucky and we get it pulled back to there tomorrow, we'll get that trade there. As of now, you don't have anything. Just wait. Euro Yen. This one is at an extreme level. I think we're going to take the sell. So take this off. If you took this buy yesterday, it was only to break this stop. And then we were expecting this move down. We don't have it, so there's a good chance we might get it now. Get that move there and then one more up. Looking at a possible running flat here. So let's move this up slightly. And let's see if we get the sell set up. I think we do. We're just going to pull this here. Wait for it to break this top. Put this sell. If it gets higher than this, if it gets much higher, we will take the trade off. I just wanted to come and break the top. So you want this to go there, break that top, and start dropping. Put the entry order here for the sell. Let it break the top first. You don't want it to go back to this top, because if it gets back there, then it will come here and continue to go. That'll be a buy setup. So I'll put those two lines and we'll be looking for the sell setup. Once we get to that top, we'll put an entry order for a sell. And if it gets anywhere higher than that, we'll take off the sell. So let's see. Euro Swiss. Let this go back up and then we get the sell set up in this. Big picture is this one. We were expecting that to go down somewhere. Alright. We don't necessarily have to break that top. It could come down from this and we're going to expect it to come all the way back to the bottom and maybe even break out. So this is a sell setup. This would be an active sell setup right now. We're looking for a flag here for the sell. And let's go to the 15. Yep, once it gets back to the top, we're looking for the sell. Comes back to this level here. Just about that. And then we're putting a sell setup here. You can put it under the low. It's just about 3 pips difference. Not a big deal. So we'll be looking for a sell setup, which is an equivalent of this one, dropping. Let's see if we get that. And Euro pound. This was the buy yesterday to get that piece. If you took it, okay. If you're in the sell already, get it out for break even, re-enter. Put it under the low. I think we can put it under this low here for a sell. And we're looking for a move equivalent of this. So we got this correction up, and we were expecting this move to come here and then probably up from that point. So let's see if we get this trade. Keep it under the low. If they go back to the top, we'll take it off. That's one more up. So if this goes back to the top here, if this one here goes back to the top there, it means this would be, we'll take this trade off, because this could come back here, but then it's going to make one more high. We'll probably buy that, like we bought this one. Right, so we'll probably go for that buy if anything. I think this one was a buy that we had to already, but this more of a break-even trade because it didn't go very far. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Still a sell setup. Wait for the flag sell. Pangos. Okay, we might be making a correction. Let's see the bigger picture. Yep, we broke the top finally. So yep, if they want to go down some more or make a deeper correction, that's possible. We broke that top. And from here, we can either make a correction and go, or pretty much come back all the way to the bottom. The big picture is upside, because we broke out of a weekly trend. I think we'll see if this gives us a short-term sell. Take this off. Let's see if we get a short-term sell here. We'll sell it for a possible correction first, and then we'll see what that turns into. I would go with some possible flat forming here. Okay, this is a smaller version of a flat. We're making a bigger version of it here. We can put an entry order. And if this comes pretty high, we'll take it off. As of now, it's valid. That would be a sell setup. Pound New Zealand, nothing. Pound Yen. Yep, you can go for the sell. So this morning we wanted this to pull back and break the top. We did that. You can put an entry order here for a sell. Let's see if it drops. If it drops, we're only expecting one move down and then upside. Yep. Come on. We're expecting this drop here to happen and then the upside. All of this could be one huge flat happening in here. One huge running flat. So you got to move down. You got to move up, and we're expecting this to come back here and then up again, giving us a running flat. So let's see if we get this trade. That's a trade. We skipped the New Zealand dollar. Okay, I'll take a look at it just now. 15. Put an entry here, put a stop above the top, and let's go for that trade. New Zealand dollar. Nope, I didn't skip it. We don't have anything in it. That was a sell yesterday. We don't have any trade on this as yet. So I think I mentioned that. We sold that yesterday. I'm out of that trade already from here, because once they break this low, they can go back up. So I wouldn't be here to watch it. Euro Yen was the last one. Pound Yen. Again, let's go. Pound Swiss. Yep, let this go back up, and then we're looking for a sell. This one is already there, so we look for a sell setup. We'll change this. Once it comes to this level here, we'll change that to a sell setup to an active sell. Pound CAD. Nothing. Take this off. We're looking for a sell here, but this broke the top, so that is not valid. And let's see, we'll wait. We're not buying this in any case, not as yet. You have to get a bigger flag if you're going to buy it. A bigger correction. Aussie CAD. Okay, we wait for the consolidation, then we consider the buy. If they consolidate here enough, then we'll consider the buy. We don't have a buy in that, but we do have a buy set up on the Aussie Swiss. So Aussie Swiss, you can put an entry above the top. If any one of you put the entry order in the Aussie Swiss and you were tagged in it, watch this. If it stays here, close it. If it goes up, you're in the trade. Depending on where you put the entry order, if you're tagged or not. If you're not tagged, then great, that entry order is valid. Just like the Aussie dollar, we look at this as a possible expanding, small expanding flat for upside. So that's a buy setup. By the way, this is a very good one because of where we are in the bigger structure. There's a very good chance. The bigger picture is downside, right? So we were selling this coming from the top here. We were selling this to go down here. But when this was the last sell, that was the last sell there now. We're looking for the buy to go back up. Expect to tag the top and then drop. This here would eventually drop. But there's a possibility that you could get one more up. We're not going to go to the details of patterns. We're just going to show you what we think it's going to do, and then we'll see if it happens. So this was yesterday's sell. You can take that off now. And we're looking for the opposite. We're expecting this to go back up. Now, this might not go back up. It might do what this did. Remember when we bought this one here, right? It might do exactly what this did, which is go there, start to come back. We're going to close the trade. So it might come here, start to go down back. We're going to close that trade, and we'll definitely look for that sell setup to the downside, which means if we break out of this structure totally, we're not going to go back up. We're totally is a bigger move to the downside. And we'll see how we put the pattern in this. But right now, that's a buy setup. Aussie Yen, waiting for the flag. You got a flag, you can go for the buy. This is a very good one. Eventually got a flag, so yep, that's a buy setup. Is another Aussie trade that you can get a buy setup on. Now this might be limited. We go with the trade, we see whether it gets to the top there. I'll change it to a buy, an active buy trade. So when this, if and when it gets to the top here, we'll see whether we break out like this one or whether they come back down. So this buy went there, came back down. We'll get out of that trade and then see. So we'll see when it comes here what happens. Do we break through the structure? Do we stay in it? Looks like they're going to break through, so we'll see. Aussie, New Zealand. Nothing here. We didn't get any flag. It just went, so leave it alone. New Zealand CAD. This was the sell here yesterday. This to come and break the low. So this flat here was the sell. I don't know if any of the traders took the trade, but this was the sell here to come and break this low. Well, we broke the low now. So when you broke the low, we're going to relook at this structure here. And breaking the low means we'll be looking for one more up as a running flat. It will still go back up. The bigger structure of this is upside. So if you remember, if you follow my webinar, remember when we went and made this low, we were buying it up. That was a really sharp move. We got a few good trades in it, and then it started to come down. So at first I thought that would be a correction, but now that came all the way to the bottom, which means we broke the low. When you break the low, the idea is that if that low is broken, it's going to go back up, but this time we'll have a running flat. We're going to make one more low, and then we start to look for the upside. So we're going to try to buy this, we're going to sell it, and then we're going to start buying again. So first, let's look for the buy setup. It broke the low, no big deal. You don't have a trade, you wait now. Take this out, wait to see. When we get a turn, then we'll start buying. We're not selling at the bottom of this, by no means. Right? There's no sell setup there. If you're going to get a sell setup there, you need to get a flat like this. We need to get something like this, and only then we will sell. As of now, we're looking for the reversal, which should look more like this piece here going up. New Zealand Yen. Okay, there's one more here. I was expecting this to come here, but it looks like we might get an option where this is a possible running flat in this piece. And we go back up there, then come for this, and then go. That possibility exists. So we could get both the buy setup or the sell setup. So which one we're going to go for? If we're getting a sell, we need a flag like this for the downside. If we're getting a buy, we need an impulse and a flag for the buy. Leave it alone, we don't have anything. I'll take this off. New Zealand Swiss, upside. All the New Zealand pairs dropped within a bigger correction. You see, this is the deeper correction to the downside. We're very close to this. We might even break that low. It doesn't matter if we break the low. This is not much of a trade we're looking for. We're looking for the next trade up. Either to retest that top or just to retest this top. That's the next trade we're looking for. So we will be looking for this to turn at some point and give us a trade here. There is no sell at the bottom there. The sell was yesterday at the top here. That was our sell setup. So yesterday, this was the sell setup in this trade to drop and break this low And when it broke the low, you started moving your stops to take profit. Today we're looking for the reversal to the upside. And this is where wave analysis show you how powerful it is. Because you understand how patterns could develop. And that gives you an advantage of not selling at the top here, but not selling at the bottom here. Right? Most traders tend to jump in the wrong place of the trade. And then watch it goes the wrong place, and then they're, oh my God, what am I doing? Well, you're selling at the bottom. That's the whole point. There is no buy setup as yet. You're also not jumping into the buy. Right? Now, the longer term for the USDCAD didn't change. We're going to look at all long terms. All trades, all charts you want me to look at that we don't have, keep the questions to the end of this webinar. Once to the end of it, once we finish the ones we are looking at right now, I'll look at the ones we don't have on or the ones I haven't looked at. All questions on bigger time frame will be closer to the end. So stay on, we'll do them. I'll take all your questions. We always start our webinars with, do you have any questions? And end it with, do you have any questions? Anybody in my trading room will tell you that. Close this trade. If you're in it, close it. That's positive closing, right? It stay here so long, you should close the trade. It means this will probably become a bigger correction for upside. We don't have a trade in it. CAD Swiss. Okay, so we broke the low. One more up. I think this will probably go back one more there. And then we'll see where this whole structure takes us. This whole thing is going to eventually go up, but it needs to complete itself, and it's incomplete at the moment. So from this point here, if you're going to drop a little more, we'll ignore it, right? If this drops a little more here, we're going to ignore it. We'll look for the buy setup on it. So wait until you get a buy setup. Swiss yen, nothing. It might give a sell setup. We can consider it for this sharp one or this sharp one. If you get a sell setup in the Swiss yen, we'll definitely take it. Any sell setup we get in the Swiss yen, we will take. And there's a reason for that. It's at an extreme high level. So put an entry over here. I don't think they necessarily need to break this stop. Ignore that. There's a sharp move here. So put a stop above the top just in case they decide to repeat that. I'm not sure whether that is the overnight one. If that's the overnight one, it's useless. This could be the spread for the overnight one, so ignore it. Look at this as one. But keep your stop here just in case they do this and come back and drop. Right for this one. Right, so we'll keep a stop above the top. This is a sell setup. Go with it here. Win, loss, or break even. Take this trade. That's for my traders. I'm not making trade calls for anybody. I should probably do the disclaimer at the start. Blah, 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 blah. These are just my views and how I trade. You should not follow what I do. You should make your own decisions. I think that's enough of a disclaimer. If any trader is not smart enough to know that he has to make his own trades, then you're in the wrong place. Right? If you're going to follow anybody blindly, you're in the wrong place. And that is why what we do in our group is we train traders to be independent traders. Every single one of the traders in my group are being trained to be independent traders. So they can have their own views, they can look at charts differently, they can make their own decisions whether that's a chart they're going to trade or not. Right? I'm just a guide in the group. I'm the one who teaches them how to do the analysis, how to understand it, and the rest is up to them. And pretty much good, they're doing very well with that. So I hope that disclaimer worked. I really hate that idea that you have to put that disclaimer out because I think traders should be smarter than that. Right? But anyway, let's go. So we'll look for the sell setup. The reason you want to sell this is because of this chart here. This is the chart you would be looking for when you want to sell this. I'll probably put it in the monthly. Because of this chart, and probably let me see if I can get a bigger version of it. Yep. This is the reason why you want to sell that. Because there's a very good chance this thing is going to come back to this bottom here and then go back up. You don't have to look far for that possibility. Here's a possibility. See the sharp move down here? That's an equivalent of this one. See that up move there? It's an equivalent of this one. See that sharp drop when we broke the top? Here. It's an equivalent of what you should expect here. And then continuation. Simple. Not complicated. But you're not going to get this move down if you don't start with a possibility for a sell at the top there coming down. So every sell setup you get, and this is not the first sell setup I'm taking in this trade. Every sell setup you get, you will take because you don't know which one is going to give you a drop like this. Go to the daily. See that very sharp drop you had there? That huge drop you had there in the daily? You don't know when you're going to get a drop like that. Take this for example. See that sharp drop you had there? You probably had a 15-minute flag somewhere at the top there. Just like right at the top here, we're getting a 15-minute flag now. You would not see it in the daily. What you would see in the daily, if it does drop, is you're going to see a single candle that does this. There was a 15-minute flag at the top of that candle. So, is it going to happen? I don't know. I forgot my crystal ball home. But based on a wave analysis, the possibility of that happening is pretty high. And that means if I get a 15-minute flag at the top there, I will take the trade. Every time. All the time. Because I understand the possibilities of it. And if it happens, good for you. Here is a good example of one we took. We took one I think was in here. We took this one. So you drop it, went back, no problem. That's a big move. That's a profitable move. And we'll repeat the same thing here. So now that it's at the top there, you actually want it to be at the top there when you put the sell. When you put your sell entry here, you want the price to be at the top there because now the price has a choice. Or there's a way this price could move. The price could either go up or the price could go down. Guess what? If it goes up, you're not in the trade. And I'm not looking for a buy in this. Not at the top of that monthly structure. So if it goes up, well, let it go. There was a buy setup here. I didn't take this one. Right? I didn't take this one. Why would I take this one? Let it keep going up. I want this one. When that happens, I don't want to miss that trade. Right? I'm buying other yen pairs. I'm not buying the Swiss yen and the CAD yen. The other yen pairs we buy. But not the Swiss yen and the CAD yen because they're at very, very extreme levels. So we want the sell in this one. Put your in. I'll put my entry order and I'll just wait. Basically, that's it. Put my entry order and wait. When it drops, if it drops, I get a trade. If this goes any higher, we'll take the trade off. Let's go. Natural gas. Nothing. You might want to consider the buy, but I don't think the buy is a good idea. Let me see in the bigger picture. See in the 4 hour. You could take it. Yeah, you could take the buy. We're probably not going to get this as yet. We'll get that much later, so you can go with the buy if you want. This is the 4 hour. So you probably want to look for a 1 hour flag somewhere. Yep. Very likely this could drop again. So you don't wait for a 1 hour flag to buy or wait for a drop and see if we get a sell setup. Wait for a flag. I'll put wait for a flag to buy. We don't have any sell setup, so wait for that. US oil. It's kind of going sideways here, so yeah, it's still a sell setup. You can keep it under the low. That might be better. This likely is going to go up a little more. I don't think we're going to get this pieces yet. There's a good chance we're going to drop first. Drop, and then you're going to get this for the running flat. Or we're going to get this sometime later for a running flat, and then it's going to be a bigger downside. It's downside, by the way. If you were following my webinars earlier, you would see we were saying this is going to drop, and this might be making a flat here to drop again. So let's see. It's a sell setup. S&P 500. You might want to consider this for a short-term sell. If they're trying to make a flat for upside, right? If this is trying to go break this top here, then this would probably climb up a little more. We'll wait for it to come down, and then this afternoon we'll get a buy setup. Right? So from a sell we can end up with a buy setup if that happens. US 30. Same thing. This is most likely a buy setup, so we'll wait for it. I was expecting them to drop through this, but they didn't. And this is making a flat at the top here. Let's take this out. Let's wait and see if it's actually, we broke out of this structure. We're totally out of this. So this is either a bigger correction in the making for downside, or we're gonna go break that up. Wait for this. If it comes here, you want it to come back here. Let's see if we can get a flat. If we can get a flat there, then that would be a buy. There is no flat. So this, I was expecting this to come here only, and then we would look for the sell. Now that it's so high and it's consolidating at the top there, we'll be looking for the buy. This would be just a deeper pullback. Take this off for now. And this one. This had a really good sell setup yesterday at this level. Almost a perfect flag. They go up. You can probably consider this a sell for now. See if it comes back here within this structure. So this could drop again. Let's see if we're going to take the sell. I think it's worth going for it. We'll go for the sell. And if it gets higher, then we'll take it off. Right? If this goes any higher, here, we'll take it off, wait for it to come back here, and then we'll buy that. Right? Just like this one. 1, 2, 3, and then it's a sell. So if this makes 1, 2, 3, we'll go for the buy. As of now, you can put the sell entry. So we'll put this as an active sell for now, and then we'll come back to it. Next. Okay, we're going up. If you're in the buy, just keep a stop here now. This might make a small flag and continue to go. So DAX, we're expecting to go back up one more. Retest this stop. So let's see. This is an active trade. I think that was an entry from yesterday, but if you close and you re-enter, good. If not, wait for a flag. I'm on the 4 hour, so on the 1 hour, you already had a flag for the buy. Let's see where that takes us. Tesla. Okay, we have to wait and see if they consolidate here. If it consolidates here, we'll sell. If it goes back to the top and break through this, wait for a small flag and then buy it. The probability of the downside is much higher right now. This was the buy going up, but the probability of the downside is much higher. Bitcoin. Buy setup. It broke out. That doesn't mean anything. It's coming down right now. We're still going sideways. We're literally doing this. Eventually that goes out. Right? So you're looking for out. The bigger structure, when I was showing you the bigger structure, eventually this goes up. Right? When you get this consolidation here, you go out. When you get this consolidation here, you go out. So this one eventually would be a buy setup. Now, how far do we think this is going to go? Well, it probably could get much to this level, which would be an equivalent of this one, maybe less than that. Let me see. Oh yeah, much less than that. Something like this. There's a possibility we could be doing this, which means we could go a little higher. And then we'll probably get ourselves into some kind of a running flat. Get ourselves some kinds of running flat, come back down one more. I wouldn't be surprised this comes something like this and then come back here. And then start the upside. This could be pretty slow. And then go back up. All of this will be one big correction. I don't think this is the one that is going to take off to break these stops. But let's see. You're going up, right? So that's the upside. Let's see. Ethereum, pretty much the same thing. Go back to the 1 hour. And look for a buy setup. So we get this drop. We got that up move. This was the buy. And you're getting another buy setup here. You can put the entry order lower. You can put it here. Or get a flag from the bottom going up. If you can get that. Alright, if you can get a flag from the bottom here going up, that would be good. But right now, that's your buy setup. Just above this stop. As of now, that's a buy setup. XRP. Not a buy setup. See? This one is a sell setup. We have this forecast for downside. So, as one trader told me, I am not really following all the fundamentals of this. I remember he said, wherever Bitcoin goes, where all the cryptos will go. And I said, I don't think that's true. And I don't think that's actually true. And you can see that's not actually true because this is going down. But Bitcoin is already breaking out to go up. And we are still in this this sideways move here, see? And this sideways move could bring you back to the bottom. This could bring you back all the way to the bottom. We'll see if that happens. I'm not sure that will happen. But that's a possibility, right? Now we'll see what happens in this range here if they go back up when they break this low. First, we want to break this low. And if you break that low and start to go back up, yes, we will go for the buy setup. But as of now, it's going down. ADA. Okay, that's a short-term sell. That is this here for the short-term sell. I don't think it's totally going to go down. But keep your eyes on it. If they come to retest the low, buy again. If you're in the buy, put it to positive. You should be in the buy in this one. Put it to positive. I still think it's upside. So you can keep an entry order above the top just in case this stop and takes off. It could stop right where it is and take off again for another impulse like this. So if you want to be in the buy side, you can put the entry here. That will be for the buy side. On the sell side, you're already in the trade. Manage it. If it doesn't go very far, you have to get out. So I'm not selling it. So I'll even pull the sell side because I'm not selling it. And if you're selling it, those are traders who trade very short term. Right? Let's see. We're going to do 3 more of them and then we're going to move on with the webinar. So, yep, this one is in this sideways move and you're literally in a big sideways move here. So at this point, a few things, we either come back to the bottom here and then go back up there, or they break out of this and go there. So you can look for the buy setup, you can look for the sell. What would be the trade at the moment? Right now, the moment is a sell. See, this one here, that's a sell setup. But we're in this short-term consolidation. So this sell is about to end, and you'll probably be looking for a buy setup now. An entry above the top there. Which means if you're in this trade here, all you need to do is give it some time, put it to positive. If they drop like this, good for you. If it doesn't drop, it's going to turn and go back up. You're going to get rid of this trade at break even, and you'll be looking for the buy setup that goes. Very simple. And this. Buy setup. That's a short-term buy setup. You can go with it. This one is nothing. Sell setup, leave it alone. This is not going, so this will go lower. Take that off. This one is going to go lower. You can put this as a possible flat here right now. We're not selling it. We're not buying it. Just leave it for now. It's going to make a bigger flat in here. Dodge. Nothing. Most likely sell. Right, this will probably come and break the low again. It's most likely a sell setup right now. If you're breaking through this, then the likelihood is, or in any consolidation here now would be sell. At any consolidation, we're coming back to retest the low. We haven't broken the low the first time. Let me see. Okay, we don't necessarily need to break this low, by the way. We need this move up. So even if they come and break the low here, you're going to get a 1, 2, 3 up. So if you don't want to sell, and I think you should ignore the sell, you can put an entry order here for a buy. Not that it's going to happen, but you can put an entry order here for the buy. Just in case they make a sudden spike to the upside. I think we ignore the sell. Let it drop. If it's dropping, let it drop. When it breaks this low, we look for buy setups again. And link. This is the last one we'll do. And right now you're getting a buy setup. So this was a buy setup. You're getting another buy setup there. Where would it take us? Back to the top. Right? This is your daily structure. Yep, that makes sense. Getting this one at least back to the top here. And then from that point, as you can see, they'll probably come back here and they'll take off. So this is the good buy setup to go for this one. That's how I look at it, right? So if you're looking for these trades, those are the ones we could probably look for. And now we look for this trade, right? Put an entry above this top here if you think it's going to take off. If it drops, I don't care. I'm not trying to sell it. If you're trying to sell it, be careful because it's mostly upside. All right, so that is for those. Nifty, did I skip Nifty? Let me go to it then. Sorry about that. Nifty made a flat. It's still up. We have to go. We were looking for a sell here, but then it just took off to the upside. It broke the stop. They made 3 attempts at the top. Now they broke it. So, okay. Now the top is broken and you have divergence. Right? This is the bigger structure. So any consolidation above here is a continuation. Take the trade to the upside. Any flag you get. Right? If it starts to reverse, take this off. That didn't break out. So If it starts to reverse, so if it makes any consolidation here, you continue buying, because that means you already broke the top, so that's a continuation to the upside. Any reversal would be a good sell setup. So if they reverse and start to make a flag here, you'll put an entry for the sell like we did here, but that didn't go because we broke the top there once. Right, so that is enough. Wait for flags to buy, wait for reversals if it's going to drop. The reversal is longer. You'll have to have a drop, you'll have to have a flag, and then only you can put an entry there. So basically that's the analysis and that's the trade. That's how we do it. So let's go back and look at some trades that we were in. Aussie dollar came back to the top, and now we're here. Right? So if you put the entry order where I tell you, where I would have put the second entry order, you're tagged in the trade. Again, there is no reason to panic. Now, what you're going to think, well, what if it's trying to drop? Could this be all the consolidation before it drops? It could, but very unlikely. So most likely what's going to happen is that it will probably still consolidate here a while. And if we start to see that, we'll close both trades. Well, one trade. You should be in one. You shouldn't be, but we'll close them. Now, again, the same thing. If this is going to drop, put your stop here. I think it's unlikely it's going to drop, because if it's going to drop, mostly what they would do is they'll come here and make a flag. And if we see that flag, we'll close the trade and we might even go for the sell. If you look at all the corrections, they're pretty big. Right? See these corrections, how long it takes? Look at the previous correction before that. Right? This one. See? It's pretty big. So it's very rare where you just got a small pullback like that and they drop through the bottom. But you have a stop to protect you. If not, we'll wait to see what we do with this trade. So as of now, the trade is still valid. We'll wait. They always pull back. And then we'll decide to close it. Okay. What else? I think we've just went through all of them. So let's take some questions now. Let me see what questions you have. Which question did I skip? CAD long term. Okay, we're going to look at that. How long would Nifty go up? It could continue. As long as you break that up, Nifty could continue to go on for a very long time. Keep buying. Make sure you get a flag, and if you get a flag or a correction, look for the buy setup. If they don't turn at the top, then they can go much more. ADA 15 minutes, Sol and ADA 15 minutes, how they look like in waves. 15 minutes. 15 minutes they're going down. But that's in an hourly correction. So I don't think this sell is a good idea unless you can get it from the top of the correction. Right? And unless you're trading very short term. So if you're trading short term, or you're taking it from the top of the correction in the 15 minutes, then that's good. It's okay. But if you're taking it from where it is right now on the bottom of the correction, that's not a good idea. So they're all correcting downwards, but with bigger picture for upside. Any more questions? Go ahead, don't be shy to ask your questions. So, give you a very quick review of what else trades we're looking at. This is one of the trades. Let's see what else we're looking at. We had the Euro Swiss. This sell is still valid. If this goes any higher, then we'll take it off. This is a really good sell setup as it stands right now. Valid for downside. Euro Yen, delete this sell. Let's take a look at that. Yep, this sell is off. That sell is off because it went way to the top. So now if you want to buy on the Euro Yen, let's say it's going to be a buy, it has to pull back. So take this off. And this one will go one higher, which means we can still get that. For the buy on the Euro Yen, now you want this to come back here. And now you're going to get a buy setup for the upside. Right? So when this pull back like this, then we put an entry order here for the buy and we go for that trade. So it has to pull back here, but then we will go for it. We don't have a buy setup on it right now. Let it come back down. You can't sell it anymore. And then you will look for the buy setup. Thank you. Let's see what else we have. Ovidu, let's see which one you want. I'm not sure we have that on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we have it here. Sorry. You want the USD? I think it's the same as the USD, right? This should be the same structure with the USD, USDT. It's coming down pretty deep. Let's see if we can look at it as a possible one more move down. I wouldn't do that as yet. I wouldn't go with a downside in yet, unless it makes another consult. So let this make another consolidation here, and then you can consider the sell, because we're breaking out of this, which means if they want to drop lower, they can do that now. So wait for the flags. If you get the flags, you sell. If it reverses, don't miss the buy, because we did break the low here once. It doesn't mean we can't break the low again, but by breaking that low, the chances are you're going up now, right? Chances are we could be looking at this structure up. See that? See this one here? This was a big move. This here had a big move up. Then you get a 1, 2, 3. We did tag the low, so the anticipation is one more move up here. Don't miss the buy setup. Put an entry order for the buy setup at any given time. But if you want to trade it short term to the downside, you have to wait for flags. So, this could come back and retest the low again and then go back up. It wouldn't change the bigger structure. So if you're selling here short term, just be very careful. Okay, let's see. QQQ. I think we had that somewhere. We looked at that in our previous webinars. If there's, by the way, while I'm doing this, if there's any active trade going on, my traders and traders in general, all of you, if there's any active trade you want to look at, just let me know. We'll do that. What's the big picture of this? Okay, that break was absolutely nice. It's going back up. We'll probably retest the top. Yeah, they'll probably just consolidate here and go back up higher. I'm not sure this is all the consolidation, but it looks like it is. That's all the consolidation you get, and we're going back. So look for a buy setup. This is a 4 hours, so let's go into 1 hour, see if you have the buy setup. Nope, not as yet. You got to break this, make a flag, and then buy. Break that, make a flag, and then buy. But yeah, looks like one more up at least. More up on that one. New Zealand CAD. Let's see, I think somebody wants a New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, we're looking for a buy setup. We just don't have the traders yet. All right, this would have to, it was a sell yesterday. That was a sell there yesterday. It's at the low. All the New Zealand trades had sell yesterday. It's at the low, wait for it to go back up. We wait for this to stop, wait for reversal, we're coming back to this stop. It's going to be a running flat for downside. Euro Aus, I thought we did all of that. Some of you guys just came in. So, okay, I'm going to run through the ones you want very quick. Euro Aus, let's see if we get a good consolidation. We'll buy again. This was a buy yesterday and this consolidation. We wait for this consolidation and buy. We don't have anything right now for the buy. Alright, so yeah, wait. It's too early. And I don't think we'll go with the sell on this one as yet. Maybe it's a sell, but we don't have the sell set up as yet. I would like to see it break this top before we get any sell. So let it go break that top. Wait for a bigger consolidation here, and then we go for the upside. If I'm selling, I'm selling. I'm buying the, if it's a New Zealand, if it's the Aussie that is going to move this, I'll buy the Aussie rather than sell the Euro. Sell the Pong Aus, that has a better sell setup. New Zealand CAD. We don't have anything in the New Zealand CAD. There is no setup on it. So we just have to wait. Right? That's a New Zealand. Okay, I think we did that already. Same question again. Sorry, don't retype the question. We just did that. Kindly have a look at it. We just did QQQ already. Where would you suggest Pong Yen to turn compared to your setup? You're looking for the US CAD and the bigger picture. US CAD and the bigger picture is upside. That's what we're looking for. That's on the daily and the 1 hour and the 4 hour and the weekly. It's all upside. So waiting for the upside to happen. Let's see which was the one. QQQ, we did that already. Pong Yen. Somebody wanted a Pong Yen. Pong Yen's still going up, so at some point we need a correction like this and then one more up. I think we're going to take off the Pong Yen entry too, because it's just like the Euro Yen. It came back to the top, so you take off the sell entry, wait for a flat buy. So we're gonna get one more up. Let me put this one more up here. So that means this would probably pull back, but when it pulls back here, you get a flat, and that flat means one more up. So I'll take off the sell because of the depth of the pullback. So we'll take the sell off on this one, and we'll wait. Euro USD, Pound USD, Yen. Okay, those are traders who just came in. So let's go start with the Euro USD. I'll do all the majors again. Let's go through back for those of you who just came in. Dollar, we're expecting this to go up. Wait for a flag here before we get any buy. Right, so probably put an entry out above this one. It's not really a flag, but wait for a flag and then go for the buy. Silver. Silver is going to go down, but I don't think this is the sell. There's a good chance you're going to get another pullback. Let me put it at 15 so you can see. I'm not in the sellers yet because we have this sharp one here, right? And at some point, this has to go back up there, give us a running flat, and then go for the sell. So it has to pull back, and then we have to see how deep it pulled back, and then decide whether we take the sell. Gold is the same thing. I'd see this sharp one here. So even if you're going to sell gold, you probably want to see this pull back here and then break the low and then go. But I think gold mostly will be upside. We're in this sideways move here. See a big sideways move. And this is all correction within this impulse. So eventually this thing would have to work out whatever pattern it's making and then go back up and then come down. Something like this. And then we'll get the sell. So I don't think this one is going to go very far. Very unlikely. Most likely this will have to go back up, come here, go back up there, complete this pattern, and then drop. So we'll just be going up and down for a while. You're at the bottom, there's no sense out of there. Just so you know. Euro. Okay, so Euro is pulling back if you're in the trade. When this drop, if it doesn't drop through this bottom very far, close the trade. Because this could be a flat for one more. But as of now, we're going to treat that as a flat for downside. Alright? So it's probably going to come down back. This one is more of a running flat pattern here. One more down. And when it drops, we'll decide what to do with it. It could still be a flat for upside, right? This could still come here and try to go back up. So this is where we'll use that pullback for break even if it doesn't go. Now we want it to drop straight through the bottom and fall. So the sell is still good for now. Pound. Nothing as yet. We wait. Aussie. Well, we're already in the buy. It's pulling back again. Now the first pullback, so we'll wait and see. I wouldn't go with any sell setup as yet. So it's still going down, right? It could still go lower, but we kind of get this running flat and they break the top. So that's not good when they break the top after a second after an expanding flat to come down. So any pullback or correction here would be a sell. If it goes back up, then we stay with it. So let's see. Your stop is here, so you're gonna come out of that trade much less than you're risking right now. New Zealand. Nothing, no sell at the bottom, no buy setups. You have to get a good correction here before we sell. Yen. Well, if you bought the yen, this is where you have to make the decision. So that was the buying of this yen for this piece. So I think we're going to go to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. At the top there, get it to break even. Because if it wants to drop, it already pulled back, right? See that one already pulled back. It has to go now. So put it to break even and we'll see what happens. It could come back now. Swiss, okay, that's still going up. The entry order for the sell is still here. If it gets too high, we'll take off the entry for that. We'll put this as a bigger correction. Wait for it to get to the top and then sell it. I'm not looking for a buy at this point here. Right? Definitely not looking for a buy setup. Looking for the sell. And I think this might be all the correction for this to drop. So wait and see. CAD. Upside, good. It's good to pull back because now you want some kind of a flat here for the trade to the upside. Wanted to consolidate here and then we'll get that trade to the upside. Big picture of this is upside. So we're looking at the big picture of this like this, as a possible flat forming here. Kind of a 1, 2, 3, and go back up. Can it go down all the way? Well, if it's going to go down all the way, what you want is this piece here that broke out to start to go down, make a flag, and then we'll sell this. And if you break this and you start to consolidate here for downside, we might even retest the low. That is why I think the most likely direction is the upside. Well, let's see what it does here. That will tell us. Consolidate, we buy. If it's going to reverse, you don't have a sell set up as yet. It has a drop, make a flag, then sell. Alright, I think that's it. Let's see what it... yes, but what do you think about pound yen? I think we just did that. Let's see what else. Are you looking at gold? Is it to most likely break the May high of... I think you're asking if it's going to break the top again. Let me see what is the May high. I don't really look at the time. You're talking about this high, that was May. If it's going to break that high again, yeah, that's possible. There's a good thing. Here's what we're going to do. Remember, we broke the top already, right? That is an absolute top. So you can look at this two ways. You can look at it as if we're still in that consolidation. Break the top or not break the top, that's irrelevant. All this is going to become an expanding flat. So you can look at it to say drop, correction, drop, correction, drop again, and then go. All right, that's one option. Second option is, well, drop, correction, drop. That's all. And this one is making a bigger flat here, come a little here, and then go back up. And just keep going up. Right? Because this was all your correction. Now, since we broke the top already, there's another option. This thing just keeps dropping. So you don't have to know which of those three options is going to happen right now, unless you want to do long-term forecast. And if you're doing long-term forecasts for buys or sells, then we will do it differently. As of now, I'm looking at this as a move down, a correction, and a continuation of this move downwards. So what we're looking at right now is this. This is the flat that it's making right here, right now. Something like this. And then downside. Hope that makes sense. Remember when we were making this flat, I was telling you, once you make this flat here, it is going to go downwards. Alright, so let's see if we get this one here, and then we'll go down. It will take a while for that to happen. Thank you, Danny. I hope they, well, since there's no new trader in here, I think they pretty much all should be aware of what we do. So yeah, as Danny was mentioning about the course, we have a live trading course started on the 3rd. That is after this week, next Monday. If any one of you are interested, join. If you can't afford the course but you would still like to join our group, send me a message. You can pay an installment and eventually get into the group. We have a lot of traders in the group who started their installment payment a year ago, and they're already in the group, and they will be trained to be independent traders. So with that, let's move on. What else we're looking at? So here's what we're going to do. When we come this afternoon, I will go through. You see all these trades, the reason we mark them is when we come back, we follow up on all those trades. So when we come this afternoon in New York session, we'll start with the trades we are in, the trades we are tagged, and what we did with them, or what you should have done with them, or what we will do with them, depending on how they go. Right? And then we will look for new trade setups and we'll trade. But this afternoon, we also have news at 5:30. Okay, that might be news traded in the trading room. So we'll be here at 3:45 my time. That's 7:45 a.m. New York time. You can join us. Send a link to a friend who is a trader. Let him come across and join us. Send it to a group of traders you know who would like to see how wave analysis works. If they would like, let them join us. So, any questions before I go? No questions. I thought you guys had a lot of questions. Okay, so let's go back to the trade that I am in. Since I'm in this trade, still valid. Nothing is wrong. The trade is still valid. It's still just pulling back a little. Like I said, if it starts to pull back more than once or twice, I'll take off the trade. right? If this thing keeps doing this, if it keeps doing, it has to go now. If it keeps doing this, take off the trade because they're going to do this and then drop. So I want to see it do this. Let's see which one we get. Nothing. Okay. Any other charts to look at before I go? No. So trade with somebody won the New Zealand rand, the South African rand. 1 second, let me just look at it. I think we have that somewhere. Okay, what's the big picture? It's going up, but that likely would be a sell setup. Right now this is going up, go for the buy. Let's see how high it goes and then we'll see what happens from there. So you're getting more of a buy setup here. See, this was a buy. I think that was clear. And you're getting this pullback here that is breaking out. If you get a flag here on the 1 hour, go for the buy, go for the buy, go for the buy, and then we'll see if this eventually drops. But right now it's a buy setup on the lower time frame. Right? How do you know the weak and strong pairs? We don't look at charts in terms of weak and strong pairs. We look at chart in terms of patterns. So when we look at a chart, we decide what it is likely going to do next based on what it's doing now. That's all. We don't look at it in terms of witches, because if a chart is doing this, is it weak or is it strong? And it can do this for 5 years. So is it a weak currency or a strong currency? I don't know. That would be relative to what you're comparing it to, right? If you're comparing the Canadian dollar to the US dollar, it's probably weaker, right? If you're comparing the Canadian dollar to, I don't know, the yen, it's probably stronger. So what we look for is a trade today based on patterns. It's precise patterns. Don't look at things. I know people like to look at the relatively strength chart. It's irrelevant to your trading and it's just going to mislead you in your trading. Most of the things some of these gurus are looking at is just a lot of noise. It's like talking heads on TV. You ever ask a talking head on TV, you ever listen to what they say, what they think Euro is going to do? Well, the Feds are going to say this and the Feds are going to do this and there's a probability that this is going to happen and then maybe this is going to die, blah, 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 blah. And they would never tell you what they think their Euro is going to do. It's a lot of words and no real thing of what to. That's not trading for retail traders. That's a lot of noise. So people who are going to tell you they know what the Fed is going to say or what the Fed is going to do or how the market will react to what the Fed say or do, well, good luck to that. Those are people who have no idea what they're talking about. They literally have no idea what they're talking about. You should listen to them and try to remember what they say. As retail traders, you need a trade now. You need a buy or a sell now. You don't need to know what the Feds are going to say. You don't need to know which currency is strong or weak. I don't care if it's strong or weak. If it has a sell setup, I'm selling it. If it has a buy setup, I'm buying it. It's that simple. So don't get miscarried by a lot of words. Right? There's an ad going on YouTube right now. The strategy you're using is wrong. You're going to lose your money. How do you know that? The first thing, when you see an ad like that, the first question is, how do you know that? How do you know what strategy I'm using? That is what you call the catchphrase. It's for dumb people. Anybody who sees that and decides that this is the guy I want to trade me is literally dumb. Because if anybody is starting with whatever you're doing now is wrong without even knowing what you're doing, is baiting you into a situation you don't want to be allowed in. First, you have to know what I'm doing and then decide if what I'm doing is wrong or right? But there is no concrete thing that this guy, whatever you're doing now is wrong. And that is based on one fact. The fact that a lot of retail traders are losing their account because they don't know what they're doing. So he's using the stats that 80-90% of traders fail, have no idea what they're doing, and said, okay, I'm going to bait those 80% dummies into believing that I know what they should do. So I immediately tell them that whatever you're doing now is wrong. Well, if you're losing, whatever you're doing is wrong. So he's getting you to believe that he knows what you're doing. Traders have to be smart. You guys have to think. You have to put your brains on, like turn it on. Don't turn it off when you see ads. Ask him to say, okay, you tell me what you're doing and let me see. And guess what he's doing? He says, I have a set of fixed, whatever the BS he calls it, that I'm going to give you that every day, if you come every day in the chart, and this is a simple thing, I see a lot of traders do it. And they use mathematics to convince you that you're going to be right. So here is what they're going to say. If every day, 8 o'clock in the morning, you come and you buy Pong and it does this, and 7 out of 10 times it's going to be right. How do you know that? Have you done the stats for 100 years? No. And why do you think it will, based on buying it every day, 7 out of 10 times, or selling it every day, 7 out of 10 times, you're going to be right on that? Who said 10 times it doesn't do the same thing? Right? And you're wrong all 10 times. Statistically, you can be wrong all 10 times. But it looks good when they explain it that way. 7 out of 10 times you're going to be right. So you're going to put $500 on every time. You're going to win, multiply by 7. How many of you have done that in the week? Let's say you go and do the same thing every day on the yen. And see if that's going to help you. If something is doing like this, why do you think 7 out of 10 times you're going to get it right if you're not following the patterns? What if 7 out of 10 times you're buying at the top? You came in the same day every day and you buy this and you buy this and you buy this. That's 10 trades you lost. Right? So, people wants to make trading simple. They don't want to learn anything. They don't want to understand what the chart is doing. They want to say, oh, I could just come and use a fixed set of fixed rules and make money. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with doing it, because it's not going to happen. I can challenge you to that now, that it's not going to happen. And I'm putting that challenge to anyone out there who is watching this video to tell me they can use one set of fixed rules and it's going to work. I'll come every day 8 o'clock in the London market, and I'm going to buy the Pong or I'm going to sell the Pong, and it's going to work. Because 8 o'clock every day, that's exactly what they do. Well, good luck to that. 8 o'clock every day they do the same thing. It doesn't work that way, guys. Just take any chart and look at it, and you will figure out that they don't. This is what the chart is doing. Look at this. Where do you see that at one given time every day they're doing the same thing? What you can see is this. Up, down, up, down, up. Probably down. Most likely. Can it continue to go up? Yeah, it can continue to go up. And that is why patterns are important. Because you have to make sure that the pattern you're seeing is actually telling you that there's at least one more down. And then it can still go up. And the pattern that shows you one more down, but then it can still go up. Would we buy it? Yeah. You just see I changed buys to sells. If you were paying attention, you would have just seen we just showed take off a sell and said, well, now this is going to be a buy. We did not get tagged in the sell, but we said, you know what? Hey, this thing is no longer doing that. And that is within an hour. It is no longer giving us the sell. It is likely going to give us a buy. We did that in the Euro Yen. Right? We look at the pattern in the Euro Yen and we said, you know what? There's a sell setup based on the pattern we have here right now. And then even before you can figure it out, we said, you know what? Okay, that pattern has just changed. So from a possible sell pattern that we had here, we'll wait for this to pull back here now, and that is a buy. That's it. That's simple. And that's what the market is doing. It's constantly changing. It's never static. It's not going to do the same thing it did 2 hours ago. It's a continuously changing market. It doesn't mean you can't follow it, you can't understand what it's doing, and you can't trade it. It means you just have to be able to read the patterns correctly, understand what that pattern is, whether it's a short-term pattern, a long-term pattern, what you expect it to do. And then you make you find out if that pattern is going to go your way, and if it goes good for you, manage it. If it doesn't go, well, you're not in the trade. That's all there is to it. So we can be tagged in this pattern right now for the downside. What if this is going to do what the Euro Yen doesn't go back up? What if this is going to go up higher? Remember I said I'm not buying this one. Then you have to have a strategy of where and how you're going to exit it should it decide to go higher. Well, first thing, you have a stop here. But that's not where you should exit your trade. Even if you're wrong about the trade, you should never let your stop trigger. Now, this is something new you're learning. Even if you're wrong about a trade, you need to know you're wrong way before it gets to your stop. And that is why wave analysis is so important. Because if I'm wrong about this trade, and I notice that it starts to consolidate for upside, I'm getting the hell out of it. Not for where I wanted to get out on the stop, but way before that happens. Now think of it this way. And I want you to not only think of it, I want you to go and do it on your account. Go back to any of the account you're losing on or you're lost or whatever. And take all the losing trades you have in there and divide it by half. Divide the loss by half. All the losing trades you have in your account, reduce the loss by half and see what happens to your account. So if you can reduce all your losing trades, all the trades you're wrong about, by half. The ones you're right about, you're right. They make profit good. Forget about that. Think of the ones that didn't go your way when you took the trade. Whether you got stopped out, whether you closed it afterwards, does not take. Reduce that by half and see what happens to your account. And then you'll see the magic. The thing about trading is not making a winning trade. Any fool can do that. The thing about trading that makes you a pro is what do you do when you get in the trade and it doesn't go your way? How do you manage that trade? How do you manage your way out of a trade before it becomes a disaster? Now, most traders don't put stop loss, or they put it in a panic and they pull it. Or you will be stopped out, that's one. Or the second thing is, how do you get out of that even way before it gets to your stop loss? So if this trade is going to go back up, and I think there's a possibility for that, there is always a possibility for that. Well, how do I get out of this trade before it gets to that one? Unless it does this, well, then I don't have a choice. You take the loss. But is there a possibility that I could get out of that trade earlier? I'll show you one that we got out of earlier. Not that buy. This sell. Take this sell, for example. This was a sell that I took. Going to 15. So this is a sell I took. See? Got in the sell here. See, the first one was a wick, a drop, pull back. See when that consolidation starts? Out of the trade. Because that is already telling me that you're actually going up, not down. Now take this one, for example. This is just the first pullback against it, right? That's the first pullback. I don't know where that is going to go. That's not telling me much. But if at any point this stop and consolidate here, I'm out of that trade. This could still stop and drop. You just saw that on the Aussie. It stopped and it went back higher. Let's go to the Aussie. See, this stopped. The first one pulled back, stopped, and went right back to the top. I don't know that they don't do the same thing here. But the minute it starts to consolidate for downside, the minute it starts to show me a consolidation for downside, I'm out of that trade, wherever it happens. Right now, it's nothing. It's not telling you anything. The bigger picture could still be downside, but if it's reversing, we want the trade. So right now, we're just going to wait to see whether it consolidates. Good. You should always have a stop. The stop is your last defense. Which means, well, if it drops suddenly, well, you're out of that trade. And that's it. So we'll see which one. We'll come back in New York and we'll see what happens to it. Trade with care. Can you take a look at HY index? Okay, let's look at that, and let me take a very quick look at that one. I think you want, if it's an index, it's probably this one, the gold bug index. Which one you're looking at? Tell me very quick. Top, bottom, first, second, third. The top one? No answer. I'm not sure which one you want, so we'll leave it for next time. So, okay, guys, thank you for coming. All of you have a great day. Trade with care. See all of you this afternoon in the New York session. Take care.